Let's talk about the World Cup competition, mountain biking competition, because these road riders are out there smashing it up every weekend. And you and I were talking about this offline last weekend about Tom Pidcock, Mathieu van der Poel, and here we are again this last weekend, Tom Pidcock, Mathieu van der Poel, and I'm following both those guys on Instagram. I see their photos, and then of course the racing is just so spectacular, and also to have those big guys come from across to the road, and then they're racing mountain bike, and both of those guys are trying to get to the Olympics as well. What's been going on in the mountain biking competition, Joe?
Well, yeah, so far the mountain bike season has been incredibly exciting. The first round of the World Cup was at Albstadt. That was one where Tom Pidcock started from, I think, 11th row on the grid and ended up in 5th place, which is basically impossible for most people, but perhaps not for Tom Pidcock. Yeah, he finished 5th, and I think he had a puncher as well, so maybe he would have done even better without a puncher. That meant that last weekend at Nove Mesto, the next round, he was able to start the short track. In the short track, which happens the day before the proper race, which happens on the Sunday, he finished second to Mathieu van der Poel, which meant on the Sunday, he started at the front of the grid. Straight away he started, I think it was on lap 2, he managed to gap the rest of the riders, him and Mathieu van der Poel, and I think by lap 3 he had a 30-second gap, and then by lap 4 it was up to a minute, and from then on he held that and won the race.
Joe, you see, I'm just scratching my head because I'm still trying to run the numbers here. It's complicated calculus as to whether or not. Do you have a clear answer for me? Is Tom Pidcock down for the Olympics? Yes or no?
Not at the minute. I think we may find out this evening when we're filming this. Yeah.
Well,
it sounds like he will go.
Yeah. Now it's it's even hard to say. It's a complicated calculus, mathematics. The UCI, along with the Olympic organization, has these rules in place about how you qualify for the Olympics. I think Mathieu van der Poel's already down. He's got his spot secured, but Tom Pidcock has to secure his spot, and he will do it. Everybody wants him at the Olympics, that's for sure. But it's this kind of weird thing that's going on with Romania and Vlad Dasoclu riding for Team Trek. And by finishing 17th this last weekend, he appears to have moved Romania up. And in the UCI ranking, that means everything when you're trying to qualify for those precious spots at the Olympics. And so what Tom needs to do next, well, I guess that'll come down to the next World Cup round. What can you talk about? What can you tell us about Tom for that next round? And what do we need to know about how historic his win was over this last weekend?
Yeah, well, I think going back to how they qualify, the way I try and think about it simply in my head is that the country qualifies, not the rider. That's the way I like to think about it. So although, yeah, Tom Pidcock is on its current form, you say it's highly likely to get a medal. If Great Britain doesn't have enough UCI points, then I think that's the way it works. Then, yeah, it's hard for him to qualify. But I think because he has won, obviously that's a huge chunk of UCI points. So hopefully he's got Great Britain, not just Tom, Great Britain, that place in the Olympics.
Now, just one tricky question for you, and Joe, you might be an expert on this. What does it take to be qualified for knighthood?
No, absolutely no idea.
I mean, Bradley Wiggins has the Sir in front of his name. I'm guessing Tom Pidcock is well on his way to getting it someday. We just don't know. One interesting note, and some of our keen cycling fans may have already picked this up, but Tom Pidcock's not racing on a Pinarello, is he?
Yeah, well, as you probably all know, Tom Pidcock races for Ineos Grenadiers on the road, and they ride Pinarello road bikes. On the mountain bike side, at the minute, Pinarello don't really do a mountain bike. They used to do, but they don't really do one now. So instead, he's riding a secret BMC. But now it looks like he's going to be at the Olympics. Perhaps we'll see Pinarello panic making a mountain bike for him to ride. Who knows? Or maybe he'll still be on that stealthy BMC.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you can panic and put out a bike that quickly. I remember Pinarello still makes nice track bikes, and they do that for in the past for Bradley Wiggins. They did it for Viviani when he was racing on Team Ineos, Team Sky.